The revenue collected in for our roads. Then there was an issue to do with the repairing of roads on its own, regardless of the relationship. That our roads are seriously damaged, our cars are being damaged as well, they are becoming expensive too. It's now expensive to drive. Our roads are not safe for driving right now. In actual fact, most of our cars. So it needs refurbishment, some needs to be so it's a critical issue. Okay, so this has used the time, I think, there are both categories of each issue. So there seems to be one. So let me deal with the Pomona issue. First of all, I want to thank the Honorable VP from our party, the Honorable, and I want to thank you for re-electing him again as the representative of the citizen. I want to thank the councillor for inviting us here, and I want to thank you for coming. It's called, it's a winter evening, and for you to come in the numbers that you have, we don't take it for granted. Thank you for the questions that you raised. Right now, we've got the issue of Pomona. The issue of Pomona is plain and simple theft. It's a duty. It's the level of disrespect that this government and these people who loot help for the citizens of Harare and the citizens. They feel that they need to better way. First of all, they get a list from us. But unlike a list that like the ones you've got, when you as the tenant pay the landlord, it is the landlord who pays you for staying in his house. So the landlord gives you a house. It says, for staying in my house, I'll give you money. So we are supposed to pay the receipt. Okay? And then when we pay, we're supposed to bring rubbish at our own expense. And when we bring the rubbish, we pay again the receipt. The receipt then says, I'm going to make electricity. He gives it to Zesa. And we don't get the money back. He gets the money should he put the machinery there. So to illustrate it, it's like Wange paying Zesa for taking its coal. So Wange digs the coal, takes it to Zesa. And instead of Zesa paying for the coal, it's Wange who pays. It does not make sense at any level. But the mere fact that they can do that, it is the level of utter contempt that they have for the citizens. It is the level of disrespect that they think they can pull off such a deal, that they think it does not matter. So for the cost of bond paper and a pen, because that's the only thing that they've spent money on, for the cost of bond paper and a pen, some person called Nguva is getting 40,000 US dollars per day net. Whether we bring the rubbish in or we don't, it's a guaranteed minimum. What is the cost that he has incurred? A bond paper and a what? And a pen. So they sit together at a small table. They buy bond paper and ink and type and sign. And then they say we've taken the land. like during colonial times. Where in the world does that happen? How in the world does that happen that you can take money from people simply because you got a lever sharp and bond paper? So it's a pure madness. The councillors who passed that, we were not there as CCC. The reason why I've been suspended, arrested, and chased away is because I refused this deal. On a Friday, before this deal was signed, it was presented to me. And I said, I'm not going to sign this deal. I'm not going to preside over a council that signs this deal. If the council sits, I'm going to reject the deal. They waited until I went to court on Monday, held a meeting in my absence, and passed this atrocious deal. And they rushed because they knew
that councillors from CCC were coming in. So they wanted to rush, they delayed the inauguration, delayed everything so that they could steal from the people. So that's basically, in layman's language, what is happening on the Pomona deal. Theft, robbery, using bond paper and a pen. And they are counting on the fact that every time they take things from Zimbabwean people keep quiet. They took Zesa from the city of Harare. People kept quiet. The power station in Harare, the power station in Bulawayo was built by the residents of Harare and the residents of Bulawayo. The wires in your houses were all built by city of Harare. The offices that they are using, the building in downtown where you sometimes pay electricity, was paid for by citizens. They took it. They took, and we kept quiet. They took Zinara. Zinara, the road network in this city, was built by the residents and the citizens. They simply took all the roads and put toll gates and took vehicle licenses, and people kept quiet. So they think they can do it for the cost of a bond paper and a pen. They've been taking things. All they needed to do was to issue a government gazette, and they take the thing. So why stop? They've taken Zinara. The only thing that they returned back was Zinwa, because people started dying of cholera. But by using a bond paper and a pen, they took Zinwa. They used bond paper and a pen, they take farms and so forth. So that's basically where we are heading. And we as a council, we are going to reject it. Okay? We are going to call for a special council meeting. In the special council meeting, we are going to suspend, not even suspend, that deal was void ab initio. It was void from the start. I don't know which official went and said you are now in charge of Pomona. That doesn't happen. City property cannot be given by anonymous officials to anonymous individuals or to crooks and thieves. So we are going to stop whatever is happening at Pomona. And we are going to reject, and we are not going to pay a single cent to that company. We will not do that. We will call a special council, and we will call and set up an investigative committee to deal with the issues that relate to Pomona. Even if they are going to try and suspend us, or chase us, or arrest us, whatever they think they can do. So that is the way forward on Pomona. We are not going to comply with such an atrocity. Secondly, I hear that there are water issues. And frankly, I was asking the councillor, I'm surprised because we can get water to Mavuko. So we should be able to get water to Green. Yeah, boreholes. What I want to do is that at the next meeting, and can you call it soon, I want to bring the water engineer and the guys who do the water distribution here. There is no reason in my mind why you shouldn't have water. You should have water at least for 4 days, isn't it? Yes. You should have water at least for 4 days of the week. Every suburb should get water at least for 4 days a week. Greendale is closer than some of the suburbs that we give water to. Either there's something wrong somewhere, there's a distribution network that is not working, but we need to find, I will need him to bring the water engineer. I'm going to ask them what's happening and take note of the areas that he indicated, and we're going to trace the problem. In Mount Pleasant, I had one problem in Ireland. It turned out that there was a fault. I have another problem in Vinona. It turns out that someone built over the pipe that distributes water. There is no reason in my mind why Greendale should not be getting water. It's an old suburb, and there should be a water network here. I don't know what the explanation you've been given, but I don't think that has been the correct explanation. I'll bring the head of water, bring the person in charge of this area. If it means next week, any day, Tuesday. On Tuesday, Keith, please remind my secretary to issue a memo I want those people here so that we can explain to the people when they will get the water, not why they are not getting water, okay? We want to explain when they will get the water.
We want him to understand.
Not why you are not getting water, because that explanation is irrelevant and stupid, if I can say that. So we'll deal with that.
I'm surprised that, when it comes to the idea, surely you must know the water problems we have in Libya. And I would have expected you to be engineers. I'm surprised that you don't know the problems that we have here in Libya.
Yeah, I've been complaining and asking questions from the city council, from Zima, from 2004 up to date.
Okay. I want them to come on Tuesday, okay? Yes.
Just to follow up on the explanation, I think we appreciate the effort you're putting to find a solution to this problem. But let's attack it in a holistic approach, okay? None of us here needs undrinkable water in our homes. So, to call these people and explain to us that a certain pipe is broken, you are going to mend it, you are mending it to bring water to our homes. This water is undrinkable to start with, okay? You put it in a bucket, it settles for some hours, there is some residue and sediments in your bucket. It's undrinkable water. So, whilst these guys are coming to explain to us why we're not getting, we need drinkable water. That the engineer himself, the guy at Morton Jeffrey, who authorizes that, start that pump to start pumping water. The guys who work at the Warren Park pump station, each and every one of them should be able to drink that water that they are switching to come to our homes.
Okay, I understand the water is a motive issue. We deliver 600 megaliters. We deliver 400 to 600 megaliters of water to Harare residents per day.
Drinkable or just
Yes,
water?
let me explain, sir.
Yes.
The majority of the people that are staying in Kuazana, in Glenmora, in Glenview, and everywhere else, in Udililo, and everywhere else, they drink this water. The water that we give to the residents is drinking, yeah? It's water that is drinkable. When it leaves Morton
Can I
Jeffrey,
appeal that we allow you to finish?
yes. When it leaves Morton Jeffrey, the treatment plant, it is drinkable. What has happened with our water distribution system? So the areas where we have renewed the water distribution system, if you remember, in 2008, 2007, we had cholera outbreaks in Glenview, in Udililo, and so forth and so forth. You no longer hear of them. What we did is we renewed the piping in all those areas. Once we renewed the piping and put these plastic-based pipes, the water gets to be drunk clean. So it gets as clean as it leaves. We've got a 3 million population in Harare. These people, the bulk of them, 60 to 70%, drink our water every day. And they use the water every day. So that water is drinkable. Yes, when it gets to some of the older suburbs, it will have moved in contaminated pipes. What is needed is to renew the distribution of the water. Otherwise, a city of 3 million people is not relying on any other water source except the water source that we are producing from water. So this is the water that everyone is drinking, and they are not dropping dead. So we can do better, but the water is there. And when we bring it to you, you will appreciate what I'm talking about. The reason why it's not coming, there is something wrong in the distribution system. I know where we can get water to. I know we get water to Mapuku. I know we get water to Chitumbiza. I know we get water to Epworth. I know we give water to Noah. So that's why I'm saying, what could be the excuse of water not coming to your homes when we can send water to all those places that are beyond Greendale. And I need people to give us a scientific, not explanation, solution. So that's what I said we'll bring them on Tuesday. Now, let's move on from the water situation. The electricity. Like I was saying, we as the city council, we allowed the electricity to go to ZESA. So ZESA took electricity, took our land, took our offices, took our infrastructure. But it doesn't matter, we've got the honorable MP here, and we've got the councillor here. We will try to deal with the issues. They are supposed, by law, to repair their own infrastructure. Because once you give them that infrastructure, it becomes theirs. I know for a fact that these days they've been refunding communities that put transformers or that restore oil or that do things around the electricity. What I would urge us to do is that in my ward, when I hold such meetings, I also call the ZESA people. So for the next meeting, what we could do is to call the area manager for ZESA, so that he gives us an explanation and the procedures that they are required. Should you help in fixing a transformer, how you process your refunds? I know for a fact that they are obliged to process the refunds, and of late they have been processing the refunds. So that needs to be done. The only problem that they have is reacting quickly to a fault. So if you don't have transformers, but you've got your honorable member in parliament, and he's one of the most aggressive and abrasive members of parliament. So at one time, if it's clear, he can ambush the Minister of Energy so that the transformers are done carefully or quickly. So that's the issue we have. Street lighting.
I just wanted to ask about the transformer issue. So, I'm just trying to wrap my head around what you said. Somebody steals the transformer. We have to pay for that. And then we have to go to ZESA and refund us.
Unfortunately, I don't want to speak for ZESA.
Okay, so my question is, who has access to steal the transformer? Who knows who has the equipment?
It's the employees of this.
ZESA.
Yes.
They're the ones who are stealing the transformer,
Yes.
and they're still expecting us. This
Well,
is criminal.
that is criminal. We agree with you. But what we are trying to do is to hold a meeting where we are pushing the blame where it is. But also, we need to provide you with practical solutions that mitigate the situation we are in. There's a whole host of problems that we are having in terms of employee discipline. The employees are stealing, people are not getting paid enough, and so forth. It's a whole debate. But what we want to do is to focus on making the community comfortable and to mitigate some of the issues that you are facing. So that, yes, we are pushing the blame, but also provide solutions. Otherwise, we'll have a meeting where we all agree that the situation is very bad and we go home and sleep even more depressed than when we can.
No, I was wondering, within ZESA themselves, they have been held to account.
We can bring them here. What we will do is that these are our employees. So people must learn. And I've done this in Arcadia. I went with all my directors, from the director of housing to the director of water. I went to Mfakosi. I went with all my directors. I went with all my directors. I went to Mount Pleasant. I brought all the directors. I want to bring them here Tuesday so that we speak to them. I'll call the provincial secretary and tell them that I want to see the provincial manager for electricity in what is it called? In Harare East Greendale on Tuesday. And I want a representative or the person with answers without fear. So when I leave this meeting, that is, and tomorrow, that is what I'm going to give my secretary a job to do, and also my councillor here to make sure that he follows up and those people come here on Tuesday, so that they answer to those questions. Right. Refuse collection. Refuse collection, we have a major problem. As a council, we have 61 compactors. Okay? And recently, we bought 10 tipper trucks and 3 front end loaders. And we bought an extra 10 compactors. 5 of the tipper trucks have come. 3 of the compactors have come. The compactors are the trucks with the modern ones. Right. Why did we buy tipper trucks? We need, because of the backlog of collecting rubbish, we have developed rubbish heaps, or what we call illegal dump sites. Now, these illegal dump sites, you cannot use a compactor to clear them. You need a tipper truck and a front end loader. So we are doing a word-to-word front end dump site clearance. I don't know when it's coming to.
I think there are some disturbances that rose last time. They were supposed to come. They were checking to where the president was addressing it was not Utafara. Tomorrow, they were supposed to actually have to do the work. The president is said to be in Glenview, so it's today. Yeah, they were called to Glenview again, so that they do something.
So let's do this. Let's do this. Let me. Okay, let me assist you, Councillor. What I will do is I will find out and inform you when they are supposed to come. Okay, not ours, not our president. But what I'll do is I'll make sure that they will come here as soon as by Tuesday. I'll have an answer when they are coming here, or if I don't bring them here myself. So we want to do a dump clearance. But now, with the regular supply, we've got a challenge. We've got 8 compactors working, plus the 3 that have come, which will make it 11. To do Harare and the proper collection for Harare, we need 36 compactors to be working per day. The 61 are in the various stages of disrepair. Now, we've got temporary solutions and permanent solutions. The permanent solution are in the meeting with the officials that Mr. Put to discuss this issue. And we're going to try to see those accept other TGS to get some of our tasks. And when they get their tasks, we do a rapid results management system and try to get 5 out of the workshop per week. They've already done the assessment of what needs to be done. We need to set a memorandum of understanding between the city council and CMED to do the repairs. If we put them in a private garage, we might not be able to pay them to come out with Nguala and all of them trying to steal our money. So that's what we are going to do. But what we need to then do after that, some communities, for example, Borodale, and I know 116, have agreed to repair a compactor. Because some of them just need a few things. That won't be 2,000, 3,000. Then they permanently station it at Borodale district or at Mount Boren district. And the community monitors the state of repair of that compactor. Then you're able to use it as frequently as possible in terms of your words. So that could be a more immediate solution before the permanent solution kicks in. Roads and traffic lights. As you know,
sorry, Worship. Well, before we move on for the rubbish collection, two things. First of all, who do we talk to who want to adopt and does the track? Tell us we can't wait, we don't know who to talk to. Secondly, there was a time when the residents actually approached council to set up a recycling center at Campins. And it got to the point where we were told the director of works is going to pay. And it's now been over a year, almost a year now.
No, yeah, we've got.
I'm starting a bit on that.
Let me don't respond. Let me say what is going to happen. Okay, it's pegged.
It's paid.
The councillor tells me that it's pegged already.
In Ireland, it's paid.
Even in Ireland. Yes, because I was going to be surprised as to why recycling centers
It
were
wasn't
formed.
communicated.
It wasn't communicated. Okay, that's fine. Let's do this, councillor, and your resident. Those are the easiest things to pay. They are already sprouting up in all other wards in residential areas. So he is your man. He knows where they are paid. He knows what you need to do to get them back. They don't cost much, the recycling centers. They are easy to construct. You can borrow from the CDF of your honorable to do the fences and the poles. And you have a recycling center. So talk to them. If he doesn't deliver, I will leave my number here. It's a WhatsApp number, and you will talk to me. Or I'll ask you to put me in your development group so that I can monitor whether you are doing that. So that is easy to do. Let's do it. And then secondly, he is also the person to talk to, and the DO. When you hold such meetings next time, Chief, bring the district officer. The district officer is your town clerk in this area. She is the one who will marshal the resources that you require, who should contact the rest of the departments. So the DEO and the councillor and the ward development committee must have a close-knit relationship for this to work. So they will sit and they will get, I'll give you a copy of the memorandum of agreement we've done with Borodel and we've done with Malborain, and to go with the community leaders and identify the compactor to adopt, and you repair it and we move. Is that okay? Thank you.
Issue of skip. You didn't mention the issue of skip bins. Is there a shortage?
The skip bins, the skip bins are there. If there's an area, if there's every shopping center should have skip bins.
Computer we need skip bins.
We don't have it. Okay, councillor, make sure that the skip bins are there. If there is a problem, just ask us. We should be able to buy more skip bins and we'll do the resolution. Some of these things, let's have a faster communication with the councillors. The council can buy skip bins, okay? It's a matter of us going into council, making a resolution, we buy the skip bins and they'll be here. We've got some money from devolution funds, we've got some money from our own budget, we should be able to buy the skip bins. The skip bins should be there for every shopping center, okay? And for there's one, then we should get another one.
Yes.
Okay, fine. What?
Will you explain to us where does clean city people come in? Because a few years ago, I personally asked this question, and I was told in this very hall that we are not supposed to pay clean city people. What is the arrangement with clean city?
The clean city comes because of our failure. I mean, that's plain and simple. Private actors have sprouted because of the failure by city council to do what it's supposed to do. What we are supposed to do is to be able to provide the residents with what they are paying for. That is the removal of their waste in whatever forms that it comes up with. So it then exists simply because the council officials and the council itself would have failed to do what it's supposed to do. And then they then introduce a willing buyer, willing seller concept to say, if you are willing to allow us to carry your rubbish, we'll carry it for you. So they are there as freedom of forming companies in Zimbabwe, collection of refuse, is not a restricted activity. So there are a number, not only Clean City, but a number of waste removal companies that have sprouted for one reason or the other, some good or not. But what we are going to do as council is to try and focus on improving our service delivery. Then we'll then be able to remove the dilemma and the question that you're asking. Now, the roads.
Sorry, Honorable Mayor, I'm also actually watching.
We don't have a council.
Nobody
have a council.
For what line was the challenge?
We don't have a council.
Maybe you can explain that.
Yes, the challenge, the chief is called Mutisma, so he's ran away. According to his name. So he has run away, he tried to even do another. He's running away so bad, he even tried to run away with my mayor. Why? And I then retrieved it from him for looting. He's the one who signed the Pomona deal. Do you think he signed it for free? He signed it for money. He's looting. He's a thief. So you can't ask why. He is a thief, a looter, primitive accumulator. So then the roads. What we in the potholes. Okay, the roads we have another dilemma in the roads. That is the other area that we have let go. We've asked our legislature that they need to return the roads back to city council. The collection of vehicle licenses. Every city in the world collects vehicle licenses. We have got 800,000 cars in Harare. Okay, so with the bulk of the cars that drive in this country, we give money to Zinara. So even if, let's say, for example, we were giving $10 for per car, it will come up to probably per month to come up to 8 million, 80 million. And all that, if it was coming back to council, we could leverage it, get loans to redo the roads and so forth, like every council does. But it goes to Zinara. Now Zinara has got a funny formula which it says it got from the World Bank. I went to speak to the chief executive of Zinara, whose offices are also the roads leading to Zinara and around the office of Zinara are atrocious. But I went into his office and he said, we've got a formula from the World Bank which says we build the roads in the least developed area. Okay? So they get the money from Harare. They work out a formula that they couldn't explain to me. But what it means is that it assumes that in a game park, there are less roads. So they end up building the road in a what? In a game park. So currently they're trying to build a road from Karoi to Vic Falls. Who wants a road from Karoi to Vic Falls? In between the game park. But that is the weirdness of their formula. So you get a bigger figure from Zinara, but it does not relate to the figure that Harare is paid for. So we are short-changed, we get less money. It also deal with solutions. Okay? There is an emergency road program. Which road from the city council and from the provincial, okay? What I need to know, you need to speak to the provincial engineer, the roads engineer, and also the minister of roads. What's his name? Mona. It's either the contractor who was given that road is bad, or he has been paid, or he hasn't been paid. But you need to find out why he has not started working, okay? So that we know, because that money is being used. Then there's money that is coming to the city council for the roads from Zinara. You need to know from the roads person which contractor has been, which road has been prioritized, which contractor has been given that road, and why they have not gone on the ground. Okay? So that we have answers to that. Because those, there are two funds that are operating. So we need to identify that problem and we deal with it that much. Okay? So that they can't be a complete something, someone working. If there's nothing happening in these words, it means that some people are not being followed up. Is it? So let's follow the map. Let's find out why the work is stalled and where it is stalled. Is the what is food lovers in this what constituency?
Yes.
Yes. I know the food lovers people.
Yes, there's food lovers in the hospital.
Yes, they contributed some time and voting materials. And what I am saying is that the people who were doing the tar, either from council or from whoever, stole all the tar. So they are leaving. I remember it because I've just come from a meeting where those people were complaining to me that they contributed. And the people who came, because they said, look, I don't know what they're trying to do. They bought the property around that area.
Red Fox.
Yeah, they bought Red Fox, right? They bought Red Fox and they want to do a concert there. I'm sure you're going to the plans. Or you were recalled. You was the mischievous. So what they're trying to do there is they're creating a very lively village like. If they go according to plan, it's a very beautiful concept that they have a vegetable city kind of thing. So they agreed to do the roads and they bought all the materials. Unfortunately, the materials has been stolen. So they're still a bit angry. But once they recover, what we will try to do is to make sure that we are closely monitoring those issues so that we don't disappoint citizens that want to contribute. So that's fine. The people now bring, because we can talk the whole day. So on Tuesday, I will bring the planning people, the health people, the roads people, water people, electricity people, and also call the police for security. Okay? There's a lot of robberies that are going on in the neighborhood and so forth. So that we deal, and then the issues of drugs. That's why I'm bringing the health people with a drug pandemic. As Harare, we have escaped drugs for some time because we were a pariah nation. But it is minor drugs have come into Zimbabwe and they've come in full force every day. So we need to have a plan of how we deal with those issues. So let's get the question, do you have a development group? And residence groups. Yes, also create a ward development group that has the DO and council officials in it, so that they are able
for the response, but let us just have it in short because it's right now. We want the done in time. Yes.
I was going to ask your worship to include in the complement of the people you are bringing, the finance people.
Yes.
That we need the finance people to explain to us why they are failing to collect revenue.
Yes,
they are willing to pay our rates.
Yes.
But there was a time when they told us not to pay.
No.
They lost the whole database of resident accounts.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they send us this statement with a ridiculous amount.
Yes.
That is no basis to say are they carrying forward from what balance to what balance. So we need the finance people to come, so include them in the team so that they can explain to us why they are failing to collect revenue.
I'm coming to you.
Can I bring a very serious problem with such that you've got Mama putting out commercial water and making our whole area dry. There are little, I've also got a map.
So it's really like a
car
hole.
that's big, so
Thank you so much. They need to be attended to as well. And I want you to close. Yeah?
Thank you so much. I've realized that mostly we are raising basic issues like water, road, public collection. And you say on Tuesday these issues will be handled. So my question is, at the moment and previous days, what were you focusing on? Since these basic issues are going to be focused on Tuesday.
Done. If you check, there's been a lot of efforts being done. If I can bring you to highlights right now, another ministry on the roads done. We have 4 roads done by the ministry. We are also having around 3 roads done by our city of Harare. Currently, they are working. They were working on the roads right now, last week. So there's lot to be being done. Refuse collection, the council is actually trying this level to improve. We were not there, we went to the mayor, we were out, so we're trying to push everything up. In which it doesn't need to say we are beginning on Tuesday, but the beginning of Tuesday is the networking in between the people of Highlands, the people of Greentail, and the people as a constituent now, with our MP, the mayor coming to us as well, so that we check other issues out. Those that needs to be referred to Parliament will be directly taken to Parliament. Those that need the force of the mayor as well to be brought to others, they are to be brought to others. However, even tomorrow, those with challenges and issues, the easiest way before we wait for the meeting, to go and register those challenges at our district office. Our depot is the same. The district officer for Highlands is the same district officer for this place for Greenton. Though we want also much to be done here also in Greenton and the much also in Highlands. So in this area, most of the issues that are being raised in this area might differ a little bit from our area in Highlands there, where a lot of things is happening as well in terms of responding towards our issues, also how we meet and how we network with our issues. So the register of our district officer, almost every day we should get to say, Jibo, can you bring the issues from the people before we have the meeting? Then we have to respond to those issues, to take those issues to council through various committees, through directors, through the mayor's office, or in full council, so that we respond to those issues. So it doesn't mean to say we are beginning it now, something that has been happening, but we want to sort out some of the things that wasn't well in this area or in the constituent for the greater than before, so that we enhance what we have been doing to a certain level of response. Thank you for a very good contribution.
So in another
I think that we have for Msizwa as well, because we don't have a council.
You cover up for him.
That will not be a challenge. You will be there if he comes here and says, if you are here, we are there to serve the community. We are here to serve.
Chief, don't be diplomatic. What you are going to do is not going to come.
He's not coming.
He's not coming. So if he is not coming, I don't know what you're saying about. The person is sold to Pomona. They are anti-residents. They've sold to Pomona. They've sold council assets under his watch. They are thieves. This is the problem with Zimbabweans. This is the problem of tolerating thievery and people who harm the interests of the people. Every time we try to be polite to them and not tell them in their face that what they are doing is evil, devilish, and against the interests of the residents. The person was not put there so that he sells Pomona and he sells the birthright of the citizens of Harare for bowls of soup or bowls of US dollars. So he is not coming anywhere with such treacherous behavior. We will have to cover up and make sure that the residents do not suffer a lack of service delivery because of the delinquency of an individual.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Your office is your office before the beginning for us give us service. Let's put it up, huh? Let's put it up. As I said before, I bring myself again. These challenges we have collected in here, but almost each and every day when you meet anything that is happening of concern within our homes, let's report to our district office as a matter of urgency. Then we get to the district office and we saw no response to it, then we investigate what is happening and ensure that something happened in terms of the implementation of what's supposed to be implemented in response to the issue raised to our district office.
Mr. Mayor, answer my in terms of the let me explain. When you're in town, you get Michigan, it's a dollar. And then dollars from a metro bridge, you get it like a Michigan, that's what you say. From town, going to town is about no capital, especially in this area. Pay a lot of money, I have money to do we do not have this.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Look, let's talk to the Zuko people. Some of these things, Councillor, you need to engage, okay? Let's engage. Let's engage. No, you engage the Zuko directly, okay? You engage Zuko directly with a specific route that she's talking about. And then you get a specific answer to that issue. Because it's not everybody who wakes up and goes to their job and says, I want to make other people miserable. Okay? Some people, they wake up and they honestly want to do their jobs despite the restrictions. So sometimes it's us who have to make sure that we've aired our concern to the right person and at the right forum. So I hear you, my sister, and I will urge my fellow councillor to get your details, get the route you are talking about, and he engages the Zuko people and makes sure that they have a cogent answer as to why there's only one bus in your area. It might be an oversight, or it might be a matter of just making enough noise to push them. If you have a problem, you can then escalate it to the honorable, who can then make the appropriate noise. But I think you should be able to deal with your problem. But anyway, there's going to be a liberalization of the transport system, so there should be some equilibrium that should come our way. But before that happens, let's get that cheap transport, which is useful, to deal with the road specifically. Okay, is that okay for you?
Thank you. Let me close this agenda for now. Allow me to close it for now. Then we move on to the next agenda. Let's thank the mayor for his response. We have a move now to ensure that all our challenges can be attended to. I will leave my number. The mayor is going to leave his number. The honorable, you can easily contact him again. So it becomes easy. The district office what I want to do is every Friday I will check with the district officer to say what have been the challenges raised from the people of what line and people of what age. Then we respond, what was the response, what is the action taken. Then we see how best we can rectify some of the challenges that they might be facing in terms of implementation.
Excuse me,
on the spot.
traffic lights, give people traffic lights.
Okay, the traffic lights. Okay, the traffic lights. Can you know how the engineer? We hold it down. So we'll bring the engineer who is responsible for the traffic lights. Like I said again, some of these issues are monitoring issues, okay? Because definitely dealing with the traffic light is not rocket science. And making it functional and knowing what the problem is should not be rocket science. And we should know from the engineer and just make sure that they will be held to pay if that traffic light is not working. Probably someone doesn't understand the link between him continuing his job and the traffic light function. So I will make sure that I emphasize the link between that particular person's job and the function of the traffic lights.
Thank you so much. Thank you once again, our mayor, for coming to embrace our meeting today. We will be doing this now and again regularly, so that people understand their mayor also that he is a man who can respond to the issues, who is actually fighting for the betterment of our city, for the betterment of our communities as Harare, including our wards, Ward 9, and Ward 8, Highlands, also including Tafara, which is part of the one which is within our constituent, is Harare East constituent. So let's give him another also for this is a new chapter that we began in response to our challenges as a constituent. Now, we are now having to call upon our Honorable MP, who is our Vice President for the CCC, our MP for our East constituent, Honorable Jedai, to come in on our agenda of community development within our constituent, which is constituent development. Our constituent development is run in change by our Honorable MP, is the parliamentary outcomes that is supposed to be happening. There are some funds that's okay. Within our constituent that may be available or not, but our Honorable MP is here for his that agenda as our MP. So I will give upon our Honorable MP to get on us on the issue to do with constituent development. Our Honorable MP, with our citizens.
Thank you very much, citizens. First, let me thank you for coming here tonight to discuss our citizen issues. I think the issues of potholes is a big issue. The issue of roads is a big issue. The issue of water is a big issue. There's one issue which we didn't talk about, which I thought you'd raise, which is the issue of developments on wetlands, which is now rampant in Harare, and indeed in the whole of Harare. There's also an issue of just illegal developments that are just sprouting in our constituency. So I hope, Mayor, when you come next week with your team, you'll be able to deal with the issue of wetlands, the development, the issue of rampant illegal developments. We also would like you to touch on the issue of street lighting. This neighborhood is in total darkness. We would like that to be addressed. The issue of potholes, we've tried as a constituency to buy the tarmac. It's not there. It's not available. So we hope you can also, address that issue. There's another issue which citizens I thought you would raise, but you didn't, which is the issue of security. There's a lot of crime in our neighborhood. I know that some of you have got neighborhood watch committees, but there's so much rampant crime, robbery, including armed robbery, are taking place in Harare East. And I hope that we can have a fuller discussion when we meet next week. I have a problem with you residents now. The problem I have is that a few weeks ago we cleared garbage at CCC, but within a few days, at Kamfinsa, we put some flowers, but you find a way to beat us. You went and found another, which is basically, so Kamfinsa is now once again a heap of rubbish. The CCPT, the same applies. We cleared about 45 tons of garbage at CCPT shopping center. But if you go there now, it's an eyesore. It's an eyesore. That garbage is. We need to hold the city of Harare into account in terms of doing their job, in terms of refuse collection. I was pleased to hear the mayor say that we can repair a compactor. I looked around whether we could actually buy a compactor. It's not possible for citizens to buy it because the cost of a new compactor is $179,000 US dollars. And actually available to Grupa Masafa, with the Chinese company that is selling it. So 179,000. But I've also gone on the internet. The United Kingdom is with lots of second hand. You can actually buy a very good compactor for 7,000 pounds, 4,000 pounds. So maybe as residents, we need to pursue that. I know you've got residents association, but the one that will take up immediately is the one of trying to repay 1 or 2. Then we have the stations in Ward 9, in Ward 8, and Ward 46, so that they can constantly carry garbage. My gripe with the citizens is that many of you are actually taking your garbage and actually going to dump it at the shopping centers. So at GCPT, the vendors there actually fought with people in very expensive cars. Let's say there's Benz and whatever. And then the people that they fought went and reported at the Highlands police station that these people have scratched our cars. So the vendors, they were actually then arrested and fined. And when you look at the people, some of them are the who's who, the captains of so-called captains of industry in Zimbabwe. So I said to myself, why should someone who is the chief operating officer of company X go and dump his dump at Kamfinsa or at CCPT? When we cleaned at CCPT and when we cleaned at the islands, I was saying to people, and I think I tweeted this, that people will write on the economy. They will go to the World Bank site, they will go to the IMF site about the state of the Zimbabwean economy. If you want to write about the state of the Zimbabwean economy, just go to the dump site at Kamfinsa. Just go to the dump site at GCPT. It will tell you the true story of the Zimbabwean economy. So I hope residents, you can desist from throwing your litter at this shopping center. But we will do our job by trying to ensure that these people do their job. But we're also going to try and also purchase or pay the compactor from the city of Harare. Another area which I hope as citizens can work together is on potholes, because we can actually buy the tarmac. At the present moment, it's not there. It's not there. And I know that amongst you, the residents with better ideas, so I hope we can have a dialogue. I come to the issue of constituency development fund. There's a constituent development fund that is issued to every constituency by the government, by parliament. So there are 210 constituencies in the country. So Harare East has got its own share. And because we haven't had an MP since I was fired on the 7th of March 2020, so that's literally 2 years, and we were fired because of the work we were doing in the Public Accounts Committee. So we have around 34,000 US dollars that we can use as a constituency. This money cannot be used on short-term things. So don't ask us to spend money on vegetables because you haven't had dinner or supper. That won't sell. It has to be capital projects. It has to be capital projects of a permanent nature. So even the things that we want to do, like buying tarmac, they will not accept that. And the reason why they will not accept short-term things is because they are very fungible. It's easy to steal. So they want concrete things that you can see. So you have seen in rural constituencies, members of parliament have built clinics, they've built walls, they've extended school blocks, and so forth. That they will accept. They will accept the construction of walls, that they will accept. They will not accept vehicles or trucks. So we can't use Constituent Development Fund to buy trucks and so forth. I think that we need to concentrate on something that is of a capital nature. But of course, $35,000 is not enough money. So that means whatever project we decide to do, we have to fundraise. We have to approach the captains of industry. I think the richest people stay in Harare East, in particular Highlands, Greenville, Mandara. Borojo is not part of us. Borojo is 118, but a lot of them, we know them, we can talk to them. So we need to agree on a project. Once we agree on that project, we then need to form a committee, which has to be chaired by the member of parliament itself, which has to have some councillors and some senators. The problem about councillors is that we only have one councillor in Harare is Keith Chalumbira. The other two councillors went away. They're not coming back. They went away. So we'll find ways. I've spoken to the clerk of parliament. So we need, if we can get some residents, particularly the chairpersons of the residents committees to sit on that committee, the development committee, the constituency committee. So whatever we are going to agree here, we then have to form the committee. Once we form the committee, we are then allowed to go and open an account with one of the local banks. We have to move very quickly because this money is not in US dollars. It's in local currency. So it was only 34,000 at the time that I spoke to the clerk of parliament after I had been re-elected. And thank you very much for re-electing. So by now, I think it's now less than 34,000 US dollars because of the massive depreciation of our currency. Yes. It was the equivalent of 34,000 at the time that I had a meeting with the clerk of parliament, which is like 3 weeks ago. So it's probably less, but more in your local currency, in Mr. John Mamunda's currency. So we need to move very quickly. We can't build halls because I think we can do better. We can't put a hall in Grindel. We can't put a hall in Mandara and Karafinsa. So I think that is out of the question. We must refuse the ruralification of Harare East. I think we've got certain standards to maintain. So a hall is out. Correct. A clinic is also out. The clinic is also out. We've got a clinic in Highlands, those of you who know it. We put the wall around there, it was put by the Constituent Development Fund some years ago when Mudavan, Peter Mudavan was the chancellor there. So we put that the wall around there. We have a clinic with many private surgeries here. So I don't think it will be putting the money to good use. Some time ago, we built a market, a vendor's market in Masasa. It's a white elephant, it's not being used. So we can't do that. What the community genuinely needs, there's a massive shortage of a school in our area. Yes. Many of the landlords here, your children go to private schools. Yes. So that's not the problem. The problem lies with the children of your help, of your domestic help. There's no school here. So they end up going to Mavuku and Tafara, most of them. In Mandara, there's a small little hall there, which is actually has been changed into a school. Those of you in Harare. So they tell you it's a tiny wall. This wall, this room is actually bigger than the wall there. But if you go there, they are actually using it as a school. 34,000 or its equivalent is not sufficient to build a school. So we can't start. We can't even build that road. But with 34,000, we can build a wall, a decent wall, a big wall. The reason why personally I'm in favor of a wall is because it can be used as a study center by our kids. It can also be used actually as a classroom. It can also be rented by churches. And it can also host meetings such as this one. Part of the problem which we actually have is we actually don't have a community hall in Harare. In every other country, politicians meet with people in town halls. They are called town hall meetings. We actually don't have a hall. So we struggle. We've got many churches in Harare East. Along Roadview Road, we probably have got 5, 6 churches just along Roadview Road. We've got St. Luke's, which I'm a member of. St. Luke's Anglican Church, we've got the Catholic Church, and so forth. By the time you are in Victoria's Road, we have other churches, AFM, and so forth. We even have Zawoja. I think there are 3 Zawojas in Harare East Road, but we don't have a town. So my proposition to you is that let's build a hall that can be used as a school, that can be used as a library, that can be used as something. 34,000 is not enough to do that, but it can put us on a foundation. We use those structure, and then we fundraise, and we can fundraise with friends and women abroad. We can do this thing. Speaking to Parliament, the owners of the money, a whole qualifies. A whole qualifies. The other things that are short-term and immediate, let's do it outside the constituent development. And here I'm talking about the refuse trucks. The mayor has opened the door for us. We should be able to talk to the mayor and get 2 or 3 that we should be able to repay on our own. Then we can have a day-to-day collection of refuse, particularly in Grindon. Grindon generates garbage, I don't know why. And so we need day-to-day collection. I've spoken to Pick and Pay, I've spoken to SPAR, I've spoken to a few pharmacies, and I've said, why can't you help us employ a security guard? But this security guard's function will be, you'll be a leader security guard. So his main job is to make sure that that place is clean, that there is no external dumping and so forth. So I hope as residents we can begin to think around this leader policemen because we need. On potholes, I think we can ask the city of Harare to attend to some of the major roads. But some of the roads, whilst we are waiting for them, we should be able to put beauty and tar. The west road is the Athens
chenjiredziyo nepenyu revanhu ndokwatinodzidzwa nhau dzacho kuchiridzwa mimanzi yacho tichepurufu ndatiwedzere mawakisi tichepurufu vaudze munhu wese kundovhota ngapinde mukomana ngapinde chamisa uyo achinge apinda korapsheni ichape